Well, welcome back, everybody. Our next storyteller is Fritz Nelson. Now, this is the first time that Fritz has been with the Spark group, but he is certainly no stranger to storytelling. And I'm going to kind of introduce him by reading a commercial message that he asked me to deliver to you. Did you enjoy today's stories? You want more storytelling? Maybe even want to try telling your own story? Well, the Spark, sponsor of the Hub, invites everyone to join them for an open mic community storytelling event on Sunday, December the 8th at 2 p.m. at the Way Station. That's in Columbiana. There are flyers in the back with more information on that. The gathering is free. It features the music of the Conkle Brothers and is a great supportive environment to try out your storytelling for the first time. And so that is in the back there, and if you would enjoy doing that, it sounds like a great thing and a great opportunity. Fritz now is going to tell us the story, Not Alone. Please welcome Fritz.
As the words of the Mass filled the chapel, I saw Sister Mary Conrad's coffin fly through the air. I'd just been with her yesterday. She was dead, of course, a few weeks dead. Her coffin had lain in this very same chapel. The prayers had been said, the tears had been shed, and the pallbearers had taken the coffin with Sister Mary Conrad in it down the driveway, across the road, into the sister cemetery where they had lowered it into the ground and covered it with dirt. Now, I didn't know Sister Mary Conrad. I knew of her, of course. Everyone knew of Sister Mary Conrad. And I had seen her in the dining hall, sitting on her scooter like it was a throne, still dressed in her dark blue habit. She was the only sister who still wore the dark blue habit. And she would radiate glances of scorn at all her fellow sisters dressed in their nice, comfortable, ordinary clothes. Now, Sister Mary Conrad lived at Villa Maria, a convent and a retreat center where I would go when I needed to sort things out. And it was a period in my life when things were just disheveled in my brain, in my soul, topsy-turvy. You know how it gets when you don't really know what's up and what's down. So I'd come to the villa. And as I got there, I found that the grounds and the campus of the villa, usually immaculate, reflected my own discontent. The grass was cut unevenly and there were brown patches. The flower beds were weedy and some of the flowers were dead. And the labyrinth, my beloved labyrinth, the place I would go to pray, its winding paths back and forth toward a center, it was in total disarray. Now, most of the time, when you walk a labyrinth, it's winding past working toward a center. It's just a nice way to slow down, to think about things, to pray a little bit, to lighten the load before getting on with your day. But sometimes when the mist is rising off the pond, when the air has a certain type of stillness. Those times, the labyrinth can become a place of mystery. A place where the past meets the future and combines with the present. A place where things unseen can become seen. A place where heaven seems to touch earth. It was one of those times. This would be the morning before I saw Sister Mary Conrad's coffin flying through the chapel. This was one of those times. The mist was rising off the lake. The air was just the right type of stillness. And I, in my topsy-turvy self, had come to walk the labyrinth, to sort things out, to think a little bit, to try to figure out what I needed to know. And so I began walking the labyrinth, back and forth, working my way to the center when I saw before me, in her wheelchair, Sister Mary Conrad. So I did what any of you would do, which is I simply took the handles of the wheelchair and Sister Mary Conrad and I started to walk the labyrinth together, back and forth, toward the center. And then beside me was another sister, the sister who had imagined the labyrinth in the first place, who had designed it, who had carved it into the lawn, and who had lovingly maintained it year after year. And together, back and forth, we walked toward the center, soon joined by all the other sisters. A great crowd walking back and forth, toward the center, until as I approached the center, I realized they'd gone. I was alone, but yet somehow I was lighter. The burden I'd been carrying was easy. I realized I didn't have to carry it alone. When I arrived in the center processing all of this, I just took it and I put it in that little pocket of your brain where you put things that you don't really understand, but you know happened. But you don't know what to do with it. You stick them in that pocket in the side of your brain, and then you go on with your day, which is what I did. And I went on with my day and into the next day. I didn't really think anything of it until I was there in the chapel. The words of the Mass flowing over me, and I saw Sister Mary Conrad's coffin fly through the air and fly over the altar. And then I saw it open up, and out of the coffin came Sister Mary Conrad, except she was no longer dressed in her severe blue hat, but was dressed in white. And the scowl was gone from her face, and she looked at her fellow sisters with love and with joy and with hopefulness, just radiant, filling the entire space. And then she left the chapel and she went over to one of those dying flower beds, and she touched it, and the flower bed came back to life. And then she went over to another flower bed and she touched it, and the flower bed came back to life, and another flower bed and another flower bed. Everywhere that Sister Mary Conrad touched, just beauty and hope. Life is coming, she seemed to say. Life is here. You're not alone. Look, this place is not alone. We've got it. I didn't stand for the final hymn of the Mass. I was too busy on a corner of the program, jotting down, drawing stick figures. I wanted to remember this, to remember what had happened. So I drew Sister Mary Conrad in her wheelchair, and I drew the coffin flying through the air, and I drew her coming out of the coffin and drew the flowers. I needed to remember. I wanted to remember that I wasn't alone. That there are things in this world bigger and more mysterious than we understand. I've not seen Sister Mary Conrad since that day in the chapel, but I still have that program. And every time I see it, no matter what's going on in my life, I remember that Sister Mary Conrad has my back. And you know something? I bet she has your back too.
Speaking words of wisdom,